The Maple Leafs need a right-shot defenseman to play alongside Morgan Rielly, but the market options are becoming increasingly scarce. Two names stand out. Who would be the best choice? Maple Leafs fans know that the team has needed a defensive reinforcement for a long time. With the trade deadline approaching on March 7th, the big question is, who can come in to strengthen the blue line next to Morgan Rielly? The problem is that finding a quality right-shot defenseman is no easy task. The Leafs already saw one of the available options, Cody Ceci, get traded to the Dallas Stars. This further reduces the alternatives for a team that doesn't have many valuable trade pieces to offer. The franchise also wants to preserve its best assets to pursue a center, another position of need. Given this scenario, management needs to be strategic. Who might be available on the market and fit into the Leaf system? The Athletic insider Chris Johnston analyzed two names that could be realistic options for Toronto. Number 1. Brandon Carlo, Boston Bruins. The Maple Leafs need to strengthen their defense, and an intriguing name could be available, but there's a major obstacle. Can Toronto convince the Boston Bruins to trade one of their key defensive pieces? The Leafs know they need a reliable defenseman to bolster the team before the NHL trade deadline, and one name stands out: Brandon Carlo of the Boston Bruins. He has experience, size, 6 feet 5 inches, over 200 pounds, and a playing style that would fit perfectly into Toronto's defense. But there's a big problem. Would the Bruins be willing to trade such an important player to a division rival? Carlo is under contract for 2 more seasons with a $4.1 million cap hit per year. Boston, which may be considering a minor rebuild, might look to move some pieces to acquire future assets. However, giving up a solid defenseman like Carlo, especially to a direct competitor like the Leafs, wouldn't be an easy decision. If Toronto truly wants to pursue Carlo, the question is, do they have enough assets to convince Boston? The franchise needs to be cautious, as they also want to strengthen the center position. Even so, a defenseman like Carlo would bring a strong physical and defensive presence, potentially forming a solid pairing with Morgan Rielly, Jake McCabe, or even Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Leafs GM Brad Treliving should at least make a call to Bruins GM Don Sweeney to gauge the situation. Even if it seems unlikely, you never know when an opportunity might arise. And what do you think, Leafs fans? Should Toronto push for this trade? Is it worth investing in a defenseman like Carlo, even if it's tough to convince Boston? Or should the priority be strengthening the offense? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 2. Luke Schenn, Nashville Predators. A familiar face could be returning to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Luke Schenn was a perfect fit alongside Morgan Rielly during the 2023 playoffs, and now, with the Nashville Predators struggling, he might be available. But is it worth betting on this reunion? The Leafs need to shore up their defense before the trade deadline, and few names make as much sense as Luke Schenn. Anyone who followed Toronto's 2023 playoff run knows the impact he had alongside Morgan Rielly. The chemistry was immediate. Unlike other market options, where there's always a risk of it not working out, the Leafs already know Schenn fits. If Schenn were to return, Toronto's defense could be much more balanced. McCabe, Tanev, a strong defensive pair. Rielly, Schenn, proven playoff chemistry. Ekman-Larsson, Timmins/Benoit, veteran in a more suitable role. Another advantage is that Schenn knows Toronto well and handles the pressure of the city, something not all players can manage. Additionally, he was highly respected in the locker room during his last stint. And what about the trade cost? 2 years ago, the Leafs acquired him for a third-round pick. Now, at 35 years old and earning $2.75 million for 1 more season, a similar price might be enough to get him out of Nashville. But would the Predators be willing to trade him? With the team struggling this season, veteran players could be available. The key detail is that Schenn had the chance to re-sign with Toronto in the past, but chose to test free agency, eventually signing with Nashville. Could that history influence the Leafs' decision now? So, here's the big question. Would Schenn be the best option to reinforce the defense, or should the Leafs look for a younger, faster player? Let us know in the comments. At the end of the day, the Maple Leafs have some tough decisions ahead. Luke Schenn has already proven that he can be a perfect fit alongside Morgan Rielly, bringing experience, physicality, and leadership to the locker room. But is it worth investing in him again? Or would it be better to take a bigger swing at a player like Carlo, a younger defenseman with a longer contract, even if negotiating with Boston is complicated? What do you think? Should Toronto go for the security of a familiar face like Schenn or take a bigger risk with Carlo? Leave your opinion in the comments, because this is one of those debates that could shape the team's direction for the rest of the season. And if you enjoyed this content and want to stay up to date with all the latest Leafs news, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the Toronto Maple Leafs. See you next time.